If we are not able to comprehend what is transpiring around us, then we will have a slow journey or even vast periods of stagnation in our spiritual adventure towards paradise. As the book points out, the status quo on this planet is resurrected purely based on mercy as a thing called a sleeping survivor, which could be 1,000, 10,000 years of just pure slumber, unaware, unconscious, while those who are deciding that they want to advance here and now during this life are getting on with their spiritual adventure. You may have family members that when they're resurrected, you will have been much further beyond them into the central universe or something like that. So comprehension is the key here. We're looking at this paper 289, or page 289, Ministering Spirits of the Central Universe. This is a great example of how the Urantia book will give you many, many pages. It seems like it's so far off and not really applicable to right now, but then they'll hit you with some little nugget of absolute wisdom, because this book is also a faith walk as well, to read all these pages. So let's start here, page 289, the secondary supernaphim. The secondary supernaphim are ministers to the 7 planetary circuits of the central universe. Part are devoted to the service of the pilgrims of time, and 1/2 of the entire order is assigned to the training of the paradise pilgrims of eternity. Now, those are paradise citizens, and their pilgrimage through Havona circuits are also attended by volunteers from the Mortal Finality Corps, an arrangement that has prevailed since the completion of the first finalizer group. So these paradise citizens, folks, are journeying through the central universe here, not like our journey, which originates in a time-space world. So theirs isn't as complete as ours, but theirs is more perfect. But interestingly enough, the mortal core of the finality, which is the humans who have attained the eventual Godhead, or whatever you want to call it, are helping these citizens, okay? According to their periodic assignment to the ministry of the ascending pilgrims, secondary supernaphim work in the following groups: pilgrim helpers, supremacy guides, trinity guides, sun finders, father guides, counselors and advisors, and complements of rest. So you can see how just complete everything is here. They have all the bases covered when it comes to this sort of functioning of creation. It's very detailed. And remember, the idea here is that you might think that this is just far off type of things, but remember, comprehension. Each of these working groups contains angels of all 7 created types, and a pilgrim of space is always tutored by secondary supernaphim of origin in the Master Spirit, who presides over that pilgrim's super-universe of nativity. When you mortals of Urantia attain Havona, you will certainly be piloted by supernaphim whose created natures, like your own evolved natures, are derived from the Master Spirit of Orvantan. So remember, supernaphim, that's like an advanced version of an angel. And since your tutors spring from the Master Spirit of your own super universe, they are especially qualified to understand, comfort, and assist you in all efforts to attain paradise perfection. So you can see how just personal that sort of thing is. And remember, there's 7 super universes, so there's beings that will have various makeups from various super universes, different qualities. The pilgrims of time are transported past the dark gravity bodies of Havona to the outer planetary circuits by the transport personalities of the primary order of Sekanophim, operating from the headquarters of the seven super universes. This is interesting because they do talk about dark gravity bodies, and they even talk about dark energy, which our scientists are aware of now. A majority, but not all, of the seraphim of planetary and local universe service who have been accredited for the Paradise Ascent will part with their mortal associates before the long flight to Havona and will at once again begin a long and intense training for supernal assignment, expecting to achieve as seraphim perfection of existence and supremacy of service. This world, folks, we don't even necessarily need to achieve anything on this planet. It's what we've been saved out of by embracing spirituality. These achievements will come. Not to say that you shouldn't do anything and that you don't want to try and strive, but it might be impossible to achieve something during this planet and this state and time and this level of backwardsness that we're experiencing here. So remember, it's about what you've been saved out of. You won't need to go through these trials and tribulations and things that others are going to have to go to at some point. You can skip those sort of things by embracing deity and divinity. And then you can begin your long and intense training for supernal assignment, okay? That's when your real life begins. This is just this preliminary testing world to see where things are going to pick up on the next side after this life. Expecting to achieve, as seraphim, perfection of existence and supremacy of service. So they're attaining as well. And this they do, hoping to rejoin the pilgrims of time, to be reckoned among those who forever follow the course of such mortals as have attained the universal Father and have received assignment to the undisclosed service of the core of finality. So don't forget, this is our destiny. This book is about origin, history, and destiny. That is our destiny. But they're not giving you every little detail. They're saying there's undisclosed. You have to attain it. They even say in Havona, the mode of thinking is entirely different from that which is taking place in time and space. We can't even comprehend what this adventure is all about. There's no way that you can even describe it. And they often say we're at a loss for words in order to describe what this is. But don't forget that one-liner. Eyes have not seen, nor ears have heard, nor has it even entered into the mind of man what the Father has in store for his creatures. So it hasn't even entered into our minds about what is taking place here, but it's going to be damn good. We just have to, get through whatever kind of things that we are having here, make the most of it, and the most of it can be made. We can start this here and now, folks. That's the point here. We don't have to wait until the other side. Once we gear our minds towards this, you can begin this. The pace belongs to each of us. The pilgrim lands on the receiving planet of Havona, the pilot world of the Seventh Circuit, with only one endowment of perfection of person. When I say start, you can start it individually anytime that you want by, staying in the Word, reading the Urantia book, making those positive decisions, love, worship God, partnership with the creators. With only one endowment of perfection of purpose. The universal Father has decreed, be you perfect even as I am perfect. That is the decree that we can live by. Those are the only revealed words of God in this entire book. You could all say that it's all in line with God, but there's no direct quote from God other than that. Be you perfect even as I am perfect. Okay? Comprehend that. That's what we need to comprehend. That is the astounding invitation command. See that? It's not just like, oh, hey, we're all just floating around and whatever happens, happens, just chill out and smoke some pot. It's a command, folks, that this is to be done. And it's an invitation. All right? This right here combines a great understanding that this has been severed amongst humanity. This is more of a liberal kind of understanding. This right here is more of a conservative type of thing, this commandment type thing. This is more of like, ooh, this invitation for fun. What's it going to be like? It's both here, okay? But we've been made to be one or the other. This is what spiritual ascension is all about. It's an invitation and a command. Broadcast to the finite children of the worlds of space. The promulgation of that injunction has set all creation astir in the cooperative effort of the celestial beings to assist in bringing about the fulfillment of realization of that tremendous command of the first grace source and center. Look at that. All creation astir, every billions of uncounted angels and untold numbers of beings, all working towards one essential key: to uplift these mortals, these imperfect animal origin free will beings, up to the level of God. And they just mobilized, and they used all of their wisdom and everything. It's not a hit and miss type of thing about what we're supposed to be doing here or anything like that. It's a clear directive, but within that, there's an invitation for your own personal way to go about it. There's an invitation for your own personal creative spirit to add to it in ways that only you can as an individual. When, through and by the ministry of all the helper hosts of the universal scheme of survival, you are finally deposited on the receiving world of Havona. See, you're standing on the shoulders of your forebearers here with this ministry. And you're also uplifting others that are directly behind you in an unbroken chain. You're deposited on this receiving world of Havona. You arrive with only one sort of perfection. Perfection of purpose. Look at italicized. Okay, you have a perfect purpose. Your purpose has been thoroughly proved. Your faith has been tested. You are known to be disappointment proof. Look at that. We can have that here and now, folks. If we understand this perfection of purpose and that we're going to arrive on these shores, what would a disappointment in this world even look like? It's impossible. Not even the failure to discern the universal Father can shake the faith or seriously disturb the trust of an ascendant mortal who has passed through the experience that all must traverse in order to attain the perfect spheres of Havona. So look at that again. Not even the failure to discern the universal Father. Okay? Because you still believe it, There might be something that you might think is the universal Father. Maybe you think fear, your evolutionary origin concept or something is that. But you still have that faith. I mean, that goes to show a Christian person who has these backwards concepts, or maybe a Buddhist person who has this backward concepts that there's no God and stuff like that. They're failing to discern the universal Father, but it's not shaking their faith. Okay. By the time you reach Havona, your sincerity has become sublime. Sincerity, and more sincerity. Perfection of purpose and divinity of desire with steadfastness of faith have secured your entrance to the settled abodes of eternity, folks. You have to desire it. It's difficult. It said it's long and difficult. Intense. Well, they didn't say difficult. They said intense. Your deliverance from the uncertainties of time is full and complete, and now must you come face to face with the problems of Havona and the immensities of paradise, to meet which you have so long been in training in experiential epochs of time on the world schools of space. We have no concept for what this means right now, folks. The most that we can think of is, maybe I have to, try to figure out how to save a universe, or, faith has won the ascendant pilgrim a perfection of purpose, which admits the children of time to the portals of eternity. Look at that. Okay? That is key. All the talking, all of the ideas and the back and forths and the debating about theologies and so forth. Boil it down to that. Now must the pilgrim help, because it has to be that. You can't know it, it's faith, because, even if you're driving to work, it's faith in that the fact that you're going to get there, because you could get in an accident. You don't know the end from the beginning. So it has to be faith in order to keep you going. It's not going to be material earning that does it. Now must the pilgrim helpers begin the work of developing that perfection of understanding and that technique of comprehension which are so indispensable to paradise perfection of personality. Here's look at this. This is in italics, folks. Ability to comprehend is the mortal passport to paradise. Willingness to believe is the key to Havona. Let's look at that again. Ability to comprehend is the mortal passport to paradise. That doesn't mean just comprehend the good or just comprehend the relative evils of this planet. It means just the ability to comprehend it all. To really put this all into perspective, what this book is saying about the glories that await, and what this book is saying about how backwards our world is. And if you don't comprehend those aspects of the backwardsness of this planet, then you're going to go along with them, and you'll be another status quo, a sleeping survivor, and you'll awaken, and then you'll have to get on with your adventure, rather than getting on with it here and now, and proceeding right to one of these mansion worlds, or even skipping these mansion worlds. You can skip number 1. Remember, they say that mansion world number 1 is about deprogramming. We can skip that whole world, and even more of them, if you don't need to be deprogrammed. But if you're if you're unable to comprehend something like the fact that we teach our children not to lie, but then in the next day we're going to lie to them and tell them that a jolly fat man, an obese man, goes down and delivers materialism to everybody through the chimney, and his Santa minus the N is his name. And if you look at that and say, no, we should do that lie, that's just the status quo, we should go along with that. And if you can't comprehend and you want to lie to your children, this is just one example. These are all over the place. Or if you can't comprehend that, if you're 500 pounds and you want to take a diet pill in order to get healthy, and you think that that's the way, and I'm not pointing a finger at anybody, people struggle with everything. I struggle with things and stuff. You have to comprehend what's transpiring around you, and then point that finger towards your own nose and say, how am I participating in this? Because remember, when pointing out the flaws of the world, we need point no further than our own noses. And if you're going, that's just a couple examples, but they're happening all over the place. This greed, this materialism, the dis-ease of materialism, these anti-God ideas that have been programmed into us from birth by design to keep us anti-God and to keep us anti-Christ. And at a certain point, you have to read these words in this Urantia book and say, some people read this book as a license to just say, hey, I remember I saw this commercial for the Urantia book. I don't know why there was a commercial for it, but the guy just sat back and drank a beer and was like, it's okay, I'm eventually getting to heaven. And it's just like, did you even read the Urantia book? Or I heard somebody talking about the Urantia book, and they said, hey, when I get it, the first thing I'm going to ask when I get into the mansion worlds is who shot JFK? And it just makes me think, did you even read the book? That's not what you're going to be. That's the last thing that you'll be concerned with on your spiritual ascension, of what types of evil things, or sordid things are transpiring on a human planet, to get into the drama of it, or get into the, what would be maybe the, what's the word? The salacious kind of side of things, or the intrigue, like watching a murder. You're going to go up to the mansion worlds and watching a murder mystery. No, that's going to be the things that's saying, that's your sordid planet and your sordid origins. That's why you're interested in murder mysteries, people. That's why that's one of the best-selling podcasts or whatever, or these movies, these top 5 movies that you look at any given moment is all going to be sex, drugs, murder, killing, violence, and that's the intrigue. And if somebody can't comprehend that, they're not going to position themselves to be able in this passport to paradise. Those things don't exist in paradise. You're not going to be eating the chicken wings, killing the animals for your food, torturing animals and that sort of stuff. And that's what that is. Ability to comprehend is the mortal passport. Okay, you comprehend the good here, and you comprehend what is that paradise even exists. People are okay with comprehending that. But then when it comes to how am I going to comprehend how my vice is affecting my passport to paradise? Nope, I don't want to comprehend that. That's okay. Everything in moderation, right? We can take arsenic in moderation, right? No. So that's a lot of the reason that I talk about the Urantia book. People read this book. There's 1,000,001 Urantia readers, but they don't really understand this choosing, this exchanging vice for virtue aspect of it, and how deep it really goes, how programmed it really goes into our society, down to the very things that we eat when it comes to animal flesh. There should be no Urantian reader who is participating in animal flesh. Willingness to believe is the key to Havona, folks. Okay, so you believe, you get to a Havona, but remember, past paradise is beyond Havona. The acceptance of sonship, cooperation with the indwelling juster, is the price of evolutionary survival. See, there is a price, and people may read that and say, oh, that sounds harsh. I don't want to have to pay a price. Well, then, have it your way. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to go off on your own and do it your own. And eventually you're just going to cease to exist. You might stagnate where you're at for, 1,000 years until you simply have no more spiritual capacity left in you. And then the justice is that you'll cease to exist. Because the universe just doesn't, want to. It makes sense. It needs to make sense. Justice is inherent. Why wouldn't we want there to be justice? If somebody's undermining this whole entire progression of people that want to get on with it by holding them back, by doing selfish evils to them, there eventually needs to be justice. There needs to be a price, okay? And that price, folks, once embraced, you'll find there's so much positivity there. There's 1,000,001 taste sensations, but they don't have any sort of downside to them. Delectable fruits, you can grow your fruits or fresh vegetables. Nuts, there's 1,000,001, maybe not 1,000,001 of just taste sensation. That's where we get into that gluttony is the spice of life. Or wait, what's this? Something like, something like diversity is the spice of life, or something like that. That quote goes, but you have, now here's that. Somebody say, hey, diversity is the spice of life, right? Huh? But when you ability to comprehend, you say, yeah, but it's also the spice of gluttony as well. Okay, diversity is the spice of gluttony as well. And if you don't have the ability to comprehend, this book is very clear about you're just going to be a sleeping survivor, or you're going to wind up in that Mansion World 1, and they're going to explain the same book to you, but it might be a Super Nathim or some, Sakanafem or something that has to explain it. And then maybe you'll listen rather than just, having to do this. Because this takes belief as well in order to read this and say, oh, this is the same thing that they're going to read to me in the freaking Mancha World #1. But you're reading it here. So if you want to, if you can't comprehend that, that's what it is. Variety is the spice of life, but it's also the spice of gluttony. Just various things like that. Sort through these things of the world, folks. So very passionate topic for me. That's why I want to teach the Urantia book. I don't see this being a major understanding of Urantia readers. That they just don't want to face this, but I've stood on the shoulders of my forebearers as well, so that I can then, try to help people understand the same thing. And it's changed my life for the better 100%. I got off of alcohol. My diet is decent. It's not perfect, but it's gotten way, way, way better. I feel healthy and all that sort of stuff. And so this has changed my life, this understanding. So hopefully it will affect yours as well, because whenever you do give up these vices and exchange them for virtues, you're qualifying for more in the universe, as this shows, right? Havona, paradise. But not only that, you're also saving yourself out of something down the road. A medical bill, a drunk driving accident, a heart disease operation, having to be on a prescription for heart disease, so forth and so on, having to be in a mental, prescription because you're not doing a holistic sort of approach towards mental health. You can save yourself out of even one decision at a time, because we're dealing with perfection here. All right, folks, that's the Urantia reading for today. See how they pocketed that in there? Right at the end, it just was like, oh, what does this have to do with anything? What the hell is a freaking counselor's advisor? Blah, 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 blah. That's just some far off thing. What am I supposed to believe that? And then, bam, it hits you with the real, on purpose. They hide those in there. Okay, thanks, and we'll talk to you soon.